In the realm of human experience, the concept of duality is pervasive. It shapes our perceptions, our beliefs, and our actions. Duality is the division of something into two opposed or contrasted aspects, such as good and evil, light and dark, self and other. This binary thinking is so deeply ingrained in our consciousness that we often take it for granted, not questioning its validity or its impact on our lives. Duality has its roots in ancient philosophy and religion. Many spiritual traditions and philosophical systems have posited the existence of two fundamental principles that govern reality. For instance, in Zoroastrianism, the universe is seen as a battleground between the forces of good Ahura Mazda and evil Angra Mainyu. In Chinese philosophy, the concept of yin and yang represents the interplay of opposite forces that create balance in the universe. The rise of dualistic thinking can also be traced to the early human need to categorize and make sense of the world. By dividing experiences and phenomena into binary categories, early humans could navigate their environment more effectively. This cognitive shortcut, however, has its drawbacks, leading to a fragmented and often contradictory view of reality. In Western thought, dualism has played a significant role, particularly through the works of philosophers such as Plato and Descartes. Plato's theory of forms posits a division between the physical world and the world of ideal forms. Descartes, on the other hand, introduced mind-body dualism, the idea that the mind and body are distinct and separate entities. These dualistic frameworks have influenced not only philosophy but also science, religion, and culture. They have led to a worldview in which reality is divided into opposing categories, creating a sense of conflict and division. One of the most significant impacts of dualistic thinking is on our perception of self. We tend to see ourselves as divided beings, consisting of a higher self and a lower self, a soul and a body, a mind and an ego. This internal division creates a sense of conflict and struggle as we try to reconcile these opposing aspects of our being. The concept of the higher self is often associated with spirituality, purity, and morality, while the lower self is seen as base, egoistic, and materialistic. This dichotomy leads to a constant internal battle as we strive to elevate the higher self and suppress the lower self. However, this struggle only reinforces the illusion of duality, creating more division and conflict within us. Dualistic thinking also affects our relationships with others. We tend to see others as separate from ourselves, creating a sense of otherness and division. This perspective leads to judgments, comparisons, and conflicts as we categorize people into friends and enemies, us and them, worthy and unworthy. In romantic relationships, duality often manifests as a dynamic of giver and receiver, lover and beloved. This binary thinking can create expectations and dependencies, leading to a sense of incompleteness and dissatisfaction. We seek to complete ourselves through the other, not realizing that true love transcends duality and arises from a recognition of unity. In spirituality, the illusion of duality is particularly pronounced. Many spiritual traditions teach the existence of a higher spiritual realm and a lower material realm, creating a division between the sacred and the profane. This division can lead to a sense of alienation from the material world and a longing to escape to a higher spiritual plane. However, true spirituality transcends this division. It involves recognizing the unity of all things and experiencing the interconnectedness of existence. By transcending duality, we can experience a deeper sense of oneness and harmony with the universe. Ironically, the very act of seeking to transcend duality can reinforce the illusion of duality. When we strive to overcome the ego or to attain a higher state of consciousness, we create a division between our current state and the desired state. This striving can create a sense of struggle and frustration as we feel trapped in a cycle of seeking and not finding. The key to transcending duality lies in recognizing that there is nothing to seek and nothing to attain. Unity is our natural state, and duality is an illusion created by the mind. By letting go of the need to achieve or overcome, we can experience the unity that already exists. Language plays a significant role in reinforcing dualistic thinking. Our language is structured around binary oppositions, such as good and bad, right and wrong, self and other. These linguistic categories shape our perceptions and create a sense of division in our minds. To transcend duality, we must become aware of the limitations of language and learn to think beyond binary categories. This involves developing a more holistic and integrative way of thinking, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and the fluidity of reality. Recent advances in neuroscience have shed light on the brain mechanisms underlying dualistic thinking. The brain is wired to categorize and simplify information, creating binary distinctions to make sense of the world. This cognitive process is essential for survival, but it can also create a fragmented and limited view of reality. Neuroscience also shows that the brain is highly plastic and capable of change. By cultivating mindfulness and other contemplative practices, we can rewire our brain to think in more integrative and holistic ways. This can help us transcend the illusion of duality and experience a deeper sense of unity and connectedness. The field of quantum physics offers fascinating insights into the nature of duality and unity. At the quantum level, particles do not exist in fixed states, but are instead interconnected and influenced by each other. This phenomenon, known as quantum entanglement, challenges the classical view of a divided and separate reality. Quantum physics suggests that the universe is fundamentally interconnected, and that the divisions we perceive are illusions created by our limited perspective. This scientific perspective aligns with many spiritual teachings that emphasize the unity and interconnectedness of all things. Mindfulness is a powerful practice for transcending duality and experiencing unity. By cultivating present moment awareness, we can see beyond the divisions created by the mind and experience the interconnectedness of all things. Mindfulness helps us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to see the fluid and transient nature of our experiences. Through mindfulness, we can develop a deeper sense of presence and acceptance, recognizing that unity is our natural state. This practice can help us to let go of the need to categorize and divide, experiencing a greater sense of peace and harmony. Meditation is another powerful tool for transcending duality. Through meditation, we can quiet the mind and connect with our true self, which is beyond dualistic thinking. Meditation helps us to see the unity and interconnectedness of all things, experiencing a state of pure being that transcends the divisions created by the mind. There are many forms of meditation that can help us to transcend duality, including mindfulness meditation, loving kindness meditation, and transcendental meditation. Each of these practices offers a unique approach to quieting the mind and experiencing the unity of existence. Dualistic thinking can have a significant impact on our mental health. When we see ourselves as divided beings, we create a sense of conflict and struggle within us. This internal division can lead to anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. By transcending duality, we can experience a greater sense of wholeness and well-being. Recognizing the unity of our being and the interconnectedness of all things can help us to let go of the need for control and acceptance, experiencing a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. One of the most profound insights that comes from transcending duality is the recognition of the interconnectedness of all things. Everything in the universe is interconnected, and we are all part of a larger whole. This recognition can transform our relationships, our actions, and our sense of purpose. When we see the interconnectedness of all things, we realize that our actions have an impact on the whole. This awareness can inspire us to live more compassionately and responsibly, recognizing that we are all interconnected and interdependent. Compassion is a key aspect of transcending duality. When we cultivate compassion, we recognize the interconnectedness of all beings and the shared experience of suffering and joy. Compassion helps us to see beyond the divisions created by the mind and to connect with others on a deeper level. By cultivating compassion, we can develop a greater sense of empathy and understanding, recognizing that we are all part of the same interconnected whole. This recognition can transform our relationships and our actions, fostering a sense of unity and harmony. The illusion of duality creates a sense of separation between self and other, between us and the world. This sense of separation is the root of much of our suffering, as it creates a feeling of isolation and disconnection. By recognizing the illusion of separation, we can experience a deeper sense of unity and connection. This involves seeing that the boundaries between self and other, between us and the world, are fluid and permeable. We are all part of the same interconnected web of existence. The ego plays a significant role in creating and maintaining the illusion of duality. The ego is the part of our consciousness that identifies with a separate self, creating a sense of division between self and other. The ego seeks to maintain its sense of identity and control, often leading to conflict and suffering. By transcending the ego, we can experience a deeper sense of unity and connection. This involves recognizing that the ego is not our true self, but a construct created by the mind. Our true self is beyond duality, connected to the larger whole of existence. Transcending duality is not just a philosophical or spiritual concept, but a practical approach to everyday life. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and awareness, we can see beyond the divisions created by the mind and experience a greater sense of unity and harmony. This involves letting go of the need to categorize and judge, recognizing the fluid and interconnected nature of reality. It means embracing the present moment and seeing the beauty and interconnectedness of all things. By living in this way, we can experience a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. The path to unity involves recognizing and transcending the illusion of duality. It requires a shift in consciousness from a fragmented and divided perspective to a holistic and integrative way of seeing the world. This shift can be facilitated through practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and compassion. As we transcend duality, we experience a deeper sense of connection and unity with ourselves, with others, and with the universe. This experience of unity is not just a philosophical idea, but a lived reality, transforming our relationships, our actions, and our sense of purpose. Culture plays a significant role in reinforcing the illusion of duality. From a young age, we are taught to categorize and divide, to see the world in binary terms. This cultural conditioning shapes our perceptions and beliefs, creating a sense of separation and division. By becoming aware of the cultural influences on our thinking, we can begin to question and transcend the illusion of duality. This involves recognizing the limitations of binary thinking and developing a more holistic and integrative perspective. Transcending duality does not mean rejecting or denying the existence of differences and opposites. Instead, it involves integrating these differences into a larger whole. This integration allows us to see the unity and interconnectedness of all things, recognizing that opposites are part of a larger continuum. The integration of duality involves embracing both the light and the dark, the higher and the lower, the self and the other. By integrating these aspects of our being, we can experience a deeper sense of wholeness and harmony. Love is a powerful force for transcending duality. True love sees beyond the divisions created by the mind, recognizing the unity and interconnectedness of all things. Love transcends judgment and separation, connecting us to the larger whole of existence. By cultivating love, we can experience a deeper sense of connection and unity. This involves letting go of the need to categorize and judge, embracing the present moment, and seeing the beauty and interconnectedness of all things. The spiritual journey is ultimately a journey beyond duality. It involves recognizing and transcending the illusion of separation, experiencing the unity and interconnectedness of all things. This journey is not about achieving or attaining something, but about letting go of the illusions created by the mind and connecting with our true self. The spiritual journey is unique for each individual, but it often involves practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and compassion. These practices help us to quiet the mind, connect with our true self, and experience the unity of existence. The illusion of duality creates a sense of separation and division, leading to conflict and suffering. By recognizing and transcending this illusion, we can experience a deeper sense of unity and connection. This involves cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and awareness, seeing beyond the divisions created by the mind and embracing the interconnectedness of all things. Transcending duality is not just a philosophical or spiritual concept, but a practical approach to everyday life. By living in this way, we can experience a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment, transforming our relationships, our actions, and our sense of purpose. Ultimately, the path to unity involves recognizing that we are all part of the same interconnected web of existence, and by embracing this unity, we can create a more harmonious and compassionate world. True love is a concept that transcends mere romantic notions and delves into the very fabric of existence. It is a state of being that encompasses all aspects of life and touches every corner of our existence. To understand the nature of true love, we must embark on a journey that explores its various dimensions, from the mundane to the mystical. This journey will lead us to a profound understanding of what it means to love and be loved in the truest sense. At its core, love is the recognition of the interconnectedness of all things. It is the realization that we are not separate from the world around us, but are deeply woven into its fabric. This understanding brings with it a profound sense of unity and compassion. When we love truly, we see ourselves in others and recognize that their joy and suffering are our own. This sense of unity is the foundation of true love. True love dissolves the boundaries that separate us from others. It breaks down the walls of ego and self-interest, allowing us to see the world through the eyes of others. This sense of unity is not limited to romantic relationships, but extends to all aspects of life. It is the love of a parent for a child, the compassion of a friend, and the empathy we feel for a stranger. In every instance, true love is a recognition of our shared humanity and our interconnectedness. One of the greatest obstacles to true love is the illusion of separation. We often see ourselves as isolated individuals separate from the world around us. This sense of separation creates fear, anxiety, and a sense of inadequacy. It leads us to seek love and validation from external sources, believing that we are incomplete without them. However, true love is not something that can be found outside of ourselves. It is an inherent part of our being, waiting to be recognized and embraced. The ego is the part of us that identifies with our individual self. It is the source of our desires, attachments, and fears. While the ego is not inherently bad, it often creates a sense of separation and division. It leads us to see others as competitors or threats rather than as fellow travelers on the journey of life. True love requires us to transcend the ego and recognize the unity that lies beyond it. Compassion is a natural expression of true love. When we see ourselves in others, we feel their joy and suffering as our own. This sense of empathy leads us to act with kindness and compassion, seeking to alleviate the suffering of others and bring joy to their lives. Compassion is not a duty or obligation, but a natural response to the recognition of our interconnectedness. Presence is a key aspect of true love. When we are fully present, we are free from the distractions of the past and the anxieties of the future. We are able to engage with the world and others in a genuine and meaningful way. This state of presence allows us to experience love in its purest form, free from attachment and expectation. It is in this state of presence that we can truly connect with others and experience the depth of true love. True love is unconditional. It is not based on the fulfillment of certain conditions or the meeting of expectations. It is a deep and abiding acceptance of ourselves and others as we are. This acceptance is not passive but active. It involves seeing the beauty and worth in ourselves and others, even in the face of imperfections and flaws. True love accepts without judgment and embraces without reservation. Forgiveness is an essential aspect of true love. It involves letting go of past hurts and grievances and choosing to see the good in others. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior, but about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment and anger. It allows us to move forward with an open heart and a willingness to love again. True love requires vulnerability. It involves opening our hearts and allowing ourselves to be seen and known. This vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. It allows us to connect with others on a deep and authentic level. When we are vulnerable, we create space for true intimacy and connection. True love has the power to transform us. It opens our hearts and minds, allowing us to see the world in a new light. It brings us closer to our true selves and to the divine essence that resides within us. Through love, we are able to transcend our limitations and connect with the infinite source of all that is. True love is deeply spiritual. It is a recognition of the divine presence within ourselves and others. It is a connection to the infinite source of love that permeates all of existence. This spiritual aspect of love transcends religious boundaries and speaks to the universal truth of our interconnectedness. True love is not something we do, but something we are. It is a state of being that arises from the recognition of our true nature. When we realize that we are love itself, we are able to express that love in all aspects of our lives. This realization transforms our relationships and our interactions with the world. Practicing love involves shifting our perspective from duality to unity. It means seeing others not as separate from us, but as extensions of ourselves. This shift in perspective transforms our interactions and relationships, infusing them with compassion, empathy, and understanding. It involves letting go of the ego and embracing the interconnectedness of all things. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for cultivating true love. It involves being fully present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Through mindfulness, we are able to see the ways in which our ego creates separation and division. We are able to let go of judgment and attachment and embrace the present moment with an open heart. Gratitude is an essential aspect of true love. It involves recognizing and appreciating the beauty and goodness in ourselves and others. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant. This shift in perspective allows us to experience love more fully and deeply. True love creates a deep sense of connection. It brings us closer to others and to the world around us. This connection is not limited to romantic relationships, but extends to all aspects of life. It is the love we feel for a friend, the compassion we have for a stranger, and the reverence we have for nature. True love connects us to the web of life and reminds us of our place within it. Love has the power to heal. It brings comfort and solace in times of pain and suffering. It helps us to let go of past hurts and to forgive. Love heals not only our emotional wounds, but also our physical and spiritual ones. When we are in a state of true love, we experience a deep sense of peace and well-being. True love brings joy. It fills our hearts with a sense of happiness and contentment. This joy is not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. It is the joy of being alive, of connecting with others, and of experiencing the beauty of life. True love brings a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that nothing else can. Self-love is an essential aspect of true love. It involves recognizing and honoring our own worth and value. When we love ourselves, we are able to love others more fully and authentically. Self-love is not about being selfish or self-centered, but about recognizing our inherent worth and treating ourselves with kindness and compassion. True love requires authenticity. It involves being true to ourselves and to others. When we are authentic, we are able to connect with others on a deep and meaningful level. Authenticity allows us to express our true selves and to create relationships based on trust and honesty. True love is liberating. It frees us from the constraints of ego and attachment. It allows us to be ourselves and to accept others as they are. Love frees us from the need for validation and approval. It gives us the freedom to live authentically and to connect with others in a genuine and meaningful way. True love requires courage. It involves taking risks and being vulnerable. It requires us to let go of our fears and to open our hearts. Love gives us the courage to be ourselves and to express our true selves. It gives us the strength to face challenges and to overcome obstacles. True love is not just a feeling but an action. It involves showing kindness and compassion to others. It means standing up for what is right and helping those in need. Love in action is about making a positive difference in the world. It is about creating a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Service is a natural expression of true love. When we love others, we are inspired to serve them. This service is not about obligation or duty, but about a genuine desire to help and support others. Love and service is about recognizing the inherent worth of every person and seeking to uplift and empower them. True love is an endless journey. It is a path of continuous growth and transformation. It involves deepening our understanding of ourselves and others. It requires us to continually expand our hearts and to embrace the ever-unfolding mystery of life. Love is not a destination, but a journey that leads us to a deeper connection with ourselves, others, and the divine. We often hear about the higher self and the lower self in spiritual teachings. In the context of love, these concepts can create confusion. We might wonder if our feelings of love are coming from our higher self, which is pure and spiritual, or our lower self, which is egotistic and possessive. But this distinction is itself a creation of the ego, a trick that keeps us from experiencing true love. Zen teaches us to see beyond these artificial distinctions. It tells us that the idea of a higher self trying to shine through a lower self is itself a manifestation of the lower self. True love doesn't involve struggling to let our higher self dominate. Instead, it involves seeing that there is no higher or lower self, only the self, which is inherently loving and connected. Love, in its truest form, is spontaneous. It arises naturally without deliberation or effort. Think of the times you've experienced love, a genuine smile from a stranger, a spontaneous act of kindness, a moment of connection with nature. These moments are not premeditated. They are pure expressions of the unity of all things. In the same way, true love flows effortlessly when we are in tune with the present moment. Many believe that love requires effort, that we must work hard to love others and ourselves. But this belief stems from the same dualistic thinking that creates a split between higher and lower selves. When we believe we must try to love, we reinforce the idea that love is separate from us, something we must attain. In reality, love is our natural state. Effort in love only creates resistance and separation. Silence plays a crucial role in understanding love. In moments of silence, we find that love is not about doing or achieving, but about being. In silence, there is no struggle, no effort, just the pure presence of being. This presence is love itself. When we allow ourselves to be silent, we connect with this presence and realize that love is always here, within us and all around us. Our thoughts often obstruct our experience of love. Just as thoughts create the illusion of a thinker separate from the thoughts, they create the illusion of a lover separate from the beloved. When we observe our thoughts, we see they come and go like waves on the ocean. They are transient, impermanent. Love, on the other hand, is the ocean itself, constant and ever-present. This brings us to a profound understanding love is both an illusion and a reality. When we view love through the lens of duality, it appears as an illusion, a fleeting emotion dependent on external circumstances. But when we see beyond duality, we realize that love is the fundamental reality, the essence of our being. It is not something to be grasped or attained, but something to be recognized and experienced in every moment. An unattached mind is essential for experiencing true love. When our minds are not attached to concepts, judgments, or expectations, we are free to experience love in its purest form. This does not mean we become indifferent or detached from others. Rather, it means we engage with the world and others from a place of unity and compassion, recognizing that love is the underlying force connecting us all. Just as spontaneous responses in conversation reflect a mind free from deliberation, spontaneous acts of love reflect a heart free from attachment. When we act from a place of genuine spontaneity, our actions are infused with love. These actions are not calculated or strategic, they are natural expressions of our true self, which is inherently loving. We must also dispel the illusion of the lover and the beloved as separate entities. This illusion creates a sense of longing and incompleteness, needing us to seek love outside of ourselves. But true love arises from within, recognizing that we are both the lover and the beloved, that love is not something we seek, but something we are. The ego often complicates our experience of love. It creates desires, attachments, and expectations which can lead to suffering. When we identify with the ego, we see love as something to be acquired or possessed. But true love is not about possession or attachment. It is about recognizing the unity and interconnectedness of all things, which transcends the ego. Love acts as a mirror, reflecting our true self. When we love others, we are, in essence, recognizing and reflecting the love within ourselves. This recognition dissolves the boundaries between self and other, revealing the oneness of all existence. In this oneness, love is not an act or a feeling, but a state of being. Practicing love involves shifting our perspective from duality to unity. It means seeing others not as separate from us, but as extensions of ourselves. This shift in perspective transforms our interactions and relationships, infusing them with compassion, empathy, and understanding. We often believe that love requires effort, that we must strive to be loving or to earn love. But this belief itself is a manifestation of the ego, creating a sense of separation and inadequacy. True love requires no effort, because it is our natural state. It flows effortlessly when we are aligned with our true self, which is love. Being present is key to experiencing true love. When we are fully present, we are free from the distractions of the past and the anxieties of the future. In this state of presence, we connect with the essence of love, which is always here and now. Presence allows us to experience love in its purest form, free from attachment and expectation. At the core of the human experience is the illusion of separation. We often perceive ourselves as distinct individuals, separate from others and from the world around us. This illusion extends into our understanding of love. We see love as something that happens between two separate entities, rather than recognizing it as a fundamental force that connects all beings. Philosophical traditions, both Eastern and Western, have long grappled with the concept of separation. In Western philosophy, figures like René Descartes emphasize the split between mind and body, and between the self and the world. Descartes' famous dictum, "I think, therefore I am," highlights the sense of isolation that comes from viewing oneself as a solitary thinker in a vast, indifferent universe. In contrast, Eastern philosophies such as Buddhism and Taoism reject this dualistic view. Buddhism, for instance, teaches that the sense of a separate self is an illusion that leads to suffering. The practice of mindfulness and meditation aims to dissolve this illusion, revealing the interconnectedness of all things. Plato's works provide a foundational perspective on the nature of love. In the Symposium, Plato presents the idea of love eros as a pursuit of beauty and truth. For Plato, true love is not simply a physical attraction, but a longing for the eternal forms of beauty and goodness. This ideal love transcends the material world, aiming to connect with the divine and the eternal. Plato's concept of love evolves through the dialogue, moving from the physical to the spiritual. He suggests that love begins with physical attraction, but should ultimately lead to a deeper appreciation of the soul's beauty and the pursuit of higher truths. Aristotle's view of love is closely tied to his concept of virtue. In Nicomachean Ethics, he differentiates between three types of friendships, those based on utility, pleasure, and virtue. True love, according to Aristotle, aligns with the friendship based on virtue. This type of love is characterized by mutual respect, admiration, and a shared commitment to the good life. Aristotle's love is not merely an emotion, but a deliberate choice to act in ways that promote the well-being of the other person. This love is stable and enduring because it is based on the recognition of the other's character and the mutual pursuit of virtue. Existential philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir explore love from the standpoint of personal freedom and responsibility. Sartre's existentialism emphasizes the role of choice and authenticity in relationships. True love, in this context, involves the freedom to choose and act authentically while respecting the freedom of the other. De Beauvoir, on the other hand, discusses love in terms of mutual recognition and respect. For her, true love requires acknowledging the other as an equal and engaging in a relationship that respects both partners' freedom and individuality. From a psychological standpoint, true love can be understood through the lens of human development. Psychologist Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development highlight how early relationships and attachment patterns influence our capacity for love. The successful resolution of early stages such as trust vs. mistrust and intimacy vs. isolation lays the groundwork for healthy, loving relationships later in life. John Bowlby's attachment theory further explores how early bonds with caregivers shape our approach to love and relationships. Secure attachment in childhood leads to healthier, more trusting relationships in adulthood, reflecting the nature of true love as rooted in early experiences of care and connection. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in the experience and expression of true love. Daniel Goleman's work on emotional intelligence emphasizes the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions while empathizing with others. True love involves a high degree of emotional intelligence, including self-awareness, empathy, and effective communication. The higher self represents our most authentic and enlightened aspect, connected to our spiritual essence and true nature. The lower self, conversely, encompasses our ego, conditioned responses, and personal desires that often lead us away from our true essence. Love, as a profound force, has the potential to harmonize and integrate the higher and lower selves, facilitating personal growth and deeper connections with others. The higher self, Atman, is the true essence of an individual, while the lower self is influenced by ego, ahamkara, and desires. Love is seen as a path to realizing the unity between Atman and Brahman universal consciousness. The concept of the higher self aligns with the realization of nirvana, where one transcends the ego and desires. The lower self, driven by attachment and ignorance, obstructs the path to enlightenment. Love and compassion are central to overcoming this ignorance. The Taoist view of the higher self aligns with the flow of the Tao, embodying harmony and balance. The lower self, marked by desires and conflicts, deviates from this natural flow. Love is a means to return to this harmonious state. Plato's theory of forms suggests that the higher self seeks the ideal form of love, transcending the material and ego-driven aspects of the lower self. Spinoza's monism posits that both higher and lower aspects are part of the same substance. Love is seen as a natural expression of this unity, transcending personal ego and aligning with the higher self. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, Overman, represents the integration of higher and lower aspects of self, where love is a transformative force leading to personal evolution and the realization of one's potential. Jung's concept of the self encompasses both the higher and lower aspects, integrating them into a cohesive whole. Love plays a role in achieving individuation, where the higher self integrates with the lower self. The lower self often manifests as the shadow, the unconscious aspects of the personality. Love and acceptance are crucial for integrating these shadow elements and achieving wholeness. Maslow's model illustrates how the pursuit of self-actualization, the higher self, involves transcending basic needs and ego-driven desires. Love is integral to reaching the pinnacle of self-actualization and fulfilling personal potential. Carl Rogers emphasized the importance of unconditional positive regard and love in realizing the true self. The higher self is achieved through self-acceptance and genuine connections with others. Neuroscientific studies reveal how the brain's reward system and emotional regulation are linked to experiences of love and self-perception. the integration of higher and lower selves is reflected in brain function and emotional well-being. Attachment theory, early attachment experiences shape our understanding of love and self. Secure attachments foster the development of a higher self, while insecure attachments contribute to the formation of a lower self driven by fear and insecurity. In Sufi mysticism, the higher self seeks union with the divine, while the lower self is characterized by worldly attachments and desires. Love is a transformative force that leads to spiritual awakening and unity with the divine. Kabbalistic teachings describe the process of returning to the divine source, where the higher self aligns with the Ein Sof infinite light. The lower self represents the fragmented aspects of the soul that must be healed through love and spiritual practices. The journey from the lower self to the higher self involves realizing the Atman's unity with Brahman. Love is seen as the divine force that bridges this gap and facilitates spiritual growth. Meditation practices help in transcending the lower self and connecting with the higher self. Techniques such as mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation promote integration and balance. Contemplative prayer focuses on deepening the connection with the divine, facilitating the experience of love and unity with the higher self. Love acts as a healing force that addresses the fears, insecurities, and desires of the lower self, leading to personal transformation and integration. The higher self is nurtured and expressed through love, leading to a deeper connection with one's true nature and spiritual essence. Practices such as self-reflection, journaling, and therapeutic interventions help in balancing the higher and lower selves. Recognizing and addressing the lower self's needs while aligning with the higher self's aspirations promotes holistic growth. Compassion for oneself and others bridges the gap between the higher and lower selves, fostering a sense of unity and interconnectedness. Understanding the interplay between higher and lower selves in romantic relationships enhances communication, empathy, and emotional intimacy. Love becomes a means of mutual growth and support. The dynamics of higher and lower selves influence friendships. Recognizing and addressing these aspects fosters deeper connections and harmonious interactions. Integrating the higher and lower selves within family relationships improves understanding and resolves conflicts, promoting a loving and supportive family environment. Embracing both the higher and lower aspects of oneself leads to greater self-acceptance and self-love. This acceptance fosters personal growth and fulfillment. Forgiveness and healing love facilitates forgiveness and healing by addressing the wounds and limitations of the lower self while aligning with the higher self's vision of wholeness and compassion. Purpose and meaning. Understanding the higher self's aspirations and the lower self's needs provides a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Love guides individuals in aligning their actions with their true essence. Internal conflicts arise when the higher and lower selves are in discord. Strategies for overcoming these conflicts involve self-awareness, acceptance, and integration practices. Common misconceptions about love and self, such as the belief that love is purely a romantic or emotional experience, are addressed. Understanding love as a transformative force that integrates both higher and lower aspects clarifies its true nature. Summarize how love serves as a bridge between the higher and lower selves, facilitating integration and personal growth. Emphasize that love is both a transformative force and a natural expression of our true essence. Encourage continued exploration and practice to deepen the understanding and experience of the higher and lower selves in the context of love. The concept of the higher self and lower self provides a framework for understanding the dual aspects of our being. The higher self represents our true essence, connected to our spiritual core and the universal consciousness. It embodies qualities such as wisdom, compassion, and authenticity. The lower self, on the other hand, is associated with the ego, conditioned responses, and personal desires that often lead to confusion and conflict. In the realm of love, these two aspects interact in complex ways. The higher self seeks to express love in its purest form, driven by a sense of unity and connection. The lower self, influenced by ego and personal needs, may experience love through more conditional or self-centered lenses. The interplay between these aspects can either lead to personal growth and deeper connections or create obstacles and misunderstandings. Eastern philosophies provide rich insights into the nature of the higher and lower selves. In Hinduism, the higher self Atman is the true self, while the lower self is influenced by ego and desires. Love is seen as a path to realizing the unity between Atman and Brahman, the ultimate reality. By transcending the lower self's attachments and illusions, individuals can experience divine love and spiritual enlightenment. Buddhism also addresses the duality between higher and lower selves. The higher self is associated with the realization of nirvana, where one transcends the ego and desires. The lower self, marked by attachment and ignorance, obstructs this path. Love and compassion are essential for overcoming ignorance and achieving enlightenment. Taoism emphasizes the flow of the Tao, a state of harmony and balance that represents the higher self. The lower self, driven by desires and conflicts, deviates from this natural flow. Love in Taoist practice helps return to this state of harmony and balance, aligning the individual with the higher self. In Western philosophies, Plato's theory of forms suggests that the higher self seeks the ideal form of love, transcending material and ego-driven aspects. Spinoza's monism views the higher and lower selves as part of the same substance, with love being a natural expression of this unity. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch represents the integration of higher and lower aspects, with love as a transformative force leading to personal evolution. Carl Jung's archetypes provide a framework for understanding the integration of higher and lower selves. The self encompasses both aspects, integrating them into a cohesive whole. The shadow represents the lower self's unconscious elements, which need to be integrated through love and acceptance to achieve wholeness. Humanistic psychology, as represented by Maslow and Rogers, emphasizes the pursuit of self-actualization and personal growth. Maslow's hierarchy of needs shows how the higher self is realized by transcending basic needs and ego-driven desires. Rogers' concept of unconditional positive regard highlights the importance of love in achieving self-actualization and authentic connections with others. Modern psychological insights, including neuroscience and attachment theory, also shed light on the dynamics between higher and lower selves. Neuroscientific studies reveal how the brain's reward system and emotional regulation are linked to love and self-perception. Attachment theory shows how early experiences shape our understanding of love and self, influencing the development of the higher and lower selves. Mystical traditions such as Sufism, Kabbalah, and Hindu mysticism offer profound insights into the higher and lower selves. In Sufism, the higher self seeks union with the divine, while the lower self is characterized by worldly attachments. Love is a transformative force that leads to spiritual awakening and unity with the divine. Kabbalistic teachings describe the process of returning to the divine source, where the higher self aligns with the Ein Sof. The lower self represents fragmented aspects of the soul that need to be healed through love and spiritual practices. Hindu mysticism emphasizes the journey from the lower self to the higher self, realizing the Atman's unity with Brahman. Love is seen as the divine force that bridges this gap and facilitates spiritual growth. Experiential practices, such as meditation and contemplative prayer, play a crucial role in connecting with the higher self and integrating the lower self. Meditation helps transcend the lower self and connect with the higher self, while contemplative prayer deepens the connection with the divine, facilitating love and unity. Love acts as a transformative force that addresses the fears, insecurities, and desires of the lower self, while nurturing and expressing the higher self. Transformative love involves healing the lower self's wounds and integrating these aspects with the higher self's vision of wholeness and compassion. Balancing the higher and lower selves involves practices such as self-reflection, journaling, and therapeutic interventions. Cultivating compassion bridges the gap between these aspects, fostering a sense of unity and interconnectedness. In relationships, understanding the interplay between higher and lower selves enhances communication, empathy, and emotional intimacy. In romantic relationships, love becomes a means of mutual growth and support. In friendships and family dynamics, recognizing these aspects fosters deeper connections and harmonious interactions. Personal growth involves embracing both the higher and lower aspects of oneself, leading to greater self-acceptance and self-love. Forgiveness and healing are facilitated through love, addressing the wounds of the lower self while aligning with the higher self's vision of wholeness. Understanding the higher self's aspirations and the lower self's needs provides a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Overcoming internal conflicts between the higher and lower selves involves self-awareness, acceptance, and integration practices. Misconceptions about love, such as viewing it purely as a romantic or emotional experience, are addressed. Understanding love as a transformative force that integrates both higher and lower aspects clarifies its true nature.